So this is Anton. It's not Sarah Evink. That's his wife. He's using his wife's computer. But Anton Buist is joining us. I love Anton. Anton, we've worked together. I use you. I go to your business, and but we were just talking. So we're talking about Niagara College, right? We're talking about college and really university as a whole. And kind of the change over the last couple of years. And we just came to the realization there's a very good possibility there's going to be students graduating this year who have never stepped foot on campus. And I'm not sure about you, but Anton, I would imagine that would have had a big impact on our relationship, our college relationship. And don't get me wrong, teaching virtually is a challenge. It's an opportunity. It definitely changes up the rules. But I remember walking to class together, and like you were standing on your head, and remember we're holding chairs in the air, and you guys were flipping tables. I probably shouldn't admit that because some admin person from Niagara College is probably going to send me a bill for broken chairs. But we wanted to be different. And in part of this series, it's an asynchronous learning experience where I wanted to interview real people, real advice, but different backgrounds. And you, Anton, are the first person I've brought on who is in a family business. And some people will say, a family business, it's great. You just step in, you graduate school, you step in. No, family business is one of the toughest businesses of having aligned expectations, clear goals together. You're in a sales and marketing role. So Anton Buist from Dave's Auto. And I want you to give a little bit of background of your location, where you're from, and a bit about your family, but also what it's like working in a family business and what works well with some of the challenges you have as well. But then marketing, and you and I've talked about this, marketing in a business that is run by an older generation who did marketing and promotion a little bit different. And as I was dialing into this call tonight, it popped up, your feed on Instagram popped up on my phone. And I'm thinking, there's an automotive repair sales shop that's getting new technology. I know it's because of you. So it's like, listen, it's a Wednesday night. It's 7:00 at night. First of all, thank you for taking time away from your wife, Sarah, to do this interview and to kind of join us. Anton, give us your story. Give us your story of when we met, going through college, what you were thinking about, and then kind of enter into that world that you're in now.
Well, to be honest, starting off with what you were just talking about before is when we were in college before, we were in person, and there's nothing really when you're dealing with business, you're dealing with people. Nothing ever beats the in person. These last 2 years have caused, I mean, not only everybody but also us to adapt, and adapt is really the one word we've had to really do this past 2 years, because if you don't adapt or if you don't go with the changes that are rolling with right now, you're going to be left behind. And the different changes we saw was we carry about an inventory of around 40, 45 cars.
Yeah.
And all of those are bought behind a click of a mouse, just like this.
Yeah.
We're watching live auctions, we're buying stuff over the phone. But no, back in the day, like when I was back in college, good times back in that class. It was all in person. There's definitely an element, and like you said before, there's a lot of students that'll probably be watching this who have gone through this class or through even this whole program, not even stepping foot in the college. Like it's bizarre to think that you can
It is.
get a diploma and yet not even step into a classroom.
Yeah.
So touching on that, after I finished my sales and marketing at Niagara College, good times with Neil and the whole group there. I stepped into my dad and my mom's family business. They've celebrated 25 years last year.
Congrats.
They started off just with a shop. They renovated out of a general store back in '96, and from then they started with just service. Started with a couple of cars. We've now grown to the 40 to 50 car inventory, used trucks, vehicles, vans, and cars. Mostly like more middle-aged or middle level or economy sized, like Ford, GM,
Yeah.
a lot of import Toyota, but no, nothing real high end, just to the general market.
Yeah.
But talking about being inside a family business, it having its challenges, I think the word would be also has its blessings and whatnot too.
Yeah.
Um, Perhaps being in a family business, sometimes more is expected of you because the playing field may not. It's not the word that it's not level. Some may expect more of you. They may think that all
Yeah.
stuff may be given to you, but
Yeah.
it definitely has a lot of challenges, especially if you like who you're with. I'd say my dad is one of my best friends. I learn a lot from him. We talk every day about different stuff, whether it's actual stuff between ourselves. We're always talking about different stuff happening in the economy.
Yeah.
Uh, Used car prices, they're up. They're up. It's just there's no other word around it. It used to be. I know I was reading a report today. SUVs climbed. I think the number was over the last 2 years. It was 47.5%. 47 and a half.
Oh man.
Trucks are up 25%. Cars are now getting close to that,
Yeah.
and we're now. I would like to think we're on the tail end of it. Obviously, like we've had a very good last 2 years. The used market has just been propelled forward because there's less inventory,
Right.
so the sales are a little bit quicker. Do we ride that? We will ride this out as long as we can. Obviously, the new stuff is gonna come back. It always does, and it looks like it's getting there. But it's been a fun ride the last 2 years. I've been in this for almost 4 years now. But yeah, a lot of the stuff we've learned in school. We talked a lot about marketing back when we were in your class.
Yeah.
Understanding your market, who you're targeting, is just so important. So yeah, the last 3 4 years they've been a blast. But
Yeah. And the key part about Dave's Auto, so you're in Wellandport, right? So, and if anybody doesn't know Wellandport, you're kind of in that Dunnville, Niagara, Haldeman, and like it's actually right in the middle of the Niagara region. So you're close to Smithville, but your market believes in a handshake, number one. Also, your market has been, your reputation's been developed over the years. And someone said to me early in the pandemic, they said, "Hey Neil, like how are you making it through the pandemic?" And I always said, I'm relying on the branding and the reputation that I've built in 20 years of doing this. And I can honestly say without a shadow of a doubt, because of all that work, building that brand and reputation, the pandemic has impacted me. It's impacted everybody, but not to the extent of my competition who is starting out. So I think, like you said, that's a blessing for you because you have a community who knows who you are, and people come to you as an in an ongoing basis. But Anton, you're also looking at new avenues and growing and expanding the business. How are ways you're doing that, and how are you using marketing in your organization?
well, after we have like a lot, these last 2 years have been fantastic. Our team only grows, which is excellent. So eventually, you're able to start taking on new things. You can adventure a bit more. Like in the day to day tasks, you need to work fast, but you obviously need to have those long term things that you're thinking about. You're looking forward to. Um, but certain things that we're now looking into, because the traditional means of marketing our inventory is number one, our website. It goes for any business now. If you don't have a website, you're obsolete. People don't trust you. They're first thing people do, they say, "Oh, so and so, buy this from there." I'm gonna give it a Google search. Should it be that way? Doesn't matter. It
No,
is
but
that way.
your
And if you're not
brand
gonna
now,
be,
I said this today in a talk, your brand now precedes you. Everybody knows everything about you before they even meet you. So web's important. Keep going.
yep, no, absolutely. It used to be 3 4 years ago. Sometimes people would leave Google reviews. The online presence was important. It was, but these last 2 years have propelled that. It very much have brought that to a higher level. If you're not performing well online, like the obviously I was saying before, our traditional is the website. The next step is Auto Trader, a huge avenue. Like there's Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, and stuff. There's so many different avenues that are out there. Obviously, working with what works best for you, but Auto Trader and all these different other platforms have a lot of stuff we can look into, and I believe we've only scratched the surface on some of the
Right.
ways we can market stuff. There's so much more that can be put into it. I look forward to looking into that. We've been very good and busy over the last 2 3 years, so there has never been a huge need to do a ton of marketing. We've got a great customer base. We like to rely on that heavily. for the service as well as the sales. But yeah, the online presence I would say is the number one.
Yeah.
Different marketing that we're looking into. There's a lot of the traditional stuff that I like. I think a lot of people like too, because when it comes to marketing, I my number one rule is just keep it simple.
Uh, I'm taking notes. This is so good. In what way?
Um, in such a way that people can understand it within seconds. We've all got these devices now, and everybody's scrolling through their phones, and you have almost 3 to 4 seconds to impress your viewer, to get them to click on your ad if you have a sponsored ad. And if you can't do it within that short amount of time, they're on to the next
It's
and the next
noise.
beat.
And even that's changed from 7 seconds of just a couple of years ago. We call it the 7 second go train attention span. And I've been talking about this lately about we are now in the attention span economy. So you have such that short window. And I'm taking notes because this week we're getting into products and branding. And I'm going to talk to the students about, which brands automatically come to mind, right? Apple, Google, Nike, all that stuff. And then I'm going to say, well, which brands would you actually go to and why? And then they're also creating marketing plans, including branding and a new product development for a client of their choice, a company of their choice. So this stuff is really important. Tell us a bit more about the industry, because automotives, you're the first automotive person I've really brought into this. And if any industry's been hit with the pandemic or continues to get hit, it's automotive. What are you excited about?
To be honest with you, I really do feel for the guys who are on the brand new industry end of things. The whole automotive industry, the whole idea of it is not just car sales. There's so much more that goes into it. There's the whole production of a vehicle.
Right.
And those 2 years ago when stuff got shut down, it was those couple of weeks, months have had long lasting effects. I mean, we're still seeing it now with the new car shortages. So for the new guys, the new car dealerships, I feel probably the most for them. But the different stuff we're now starting to see down the pipes is a higher presence of electric vehicles. I would probably say that's the number one thing coming into play. We've got Elon Musk with his Teslas. He's putting out record numbers of cars over his last 2 years. Ford, they made the single largest investment in the automotive industry. I think it was, I forget what the number was again as I was reading the report, but they're building a blue oval city for all their electric batteries. And I think it was somewhere around $7 million. I made the numbers maybe a little bit larger, maybe a little smaller than that. But to start seeing a large company take such a step as that really goes to show where this market is headed. Does that have its challenges? Absolutely. But finding the opportunity in those challenges is where you take the next step, and that's how you grow.
If you don't like change, you like irrelevancy even less, right? Which is so important.
Yep.
Anton, how do you measure the success of the marketing that you do? Obviously, it's people coming on the lot or people calling you, but how else do you kind of measure that ongoing presence that you're doing a good job?
At the end of the day, it's sell that car, it's sell those cars, but measuring that effectively is so important. We have different tools that we're equipped with where we can actually measure our listings that are online. We can see how many people have searched for that vehicle, but then how many people have actually clicked on your specific ad. How are you enticing them? So we're able to measure click-through rates such as that, keeping an eye on that. That way our inventory health is good. Having the different softwares we've jumped on with in the last 3 years allow us to look at those. So we can look at our average inventory, how many days every vehicle lasts, different vehicles, different brands, measuring which ones are, good sellers or whatnot. The market is always changing, but if you can start working with your own real data, then you've got a tool, because your area is always unique. And yet having the online presence, I mean, these past years we've sold vehicles out to BC, Newfoundland. I couldn't even count the amount of vehicles I've gone up north. People just buy over the phone or video.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's crazy. And the amount of money people are willing to trust you with, I would say that is number one.
It's our market.
We talked about it often. Yeah. When we were in your class, and it doesn't matter if you're meeting with different partners, suppliers, customers, being genuine really is number one. Being honorable.
It's that human piece, and you have strong morals and values, and that's what's made you successful. Because car dealerships, that is a challenge today. It's about no trust is the entry to the game today. It's so important.
Absolutely. You look at other people, you look at what people's most involved purchases are in their life. It's their homes. Homes are number one. What's number two? For some people, buying a car is the first largest purchase or investment they've made. So
Yeah,
there's
got
a lot of
students right
emotion.
now watching this. They're like, "How do I get a hold of Anton?"
No, but there's a lot of money that people are putting down. Somebody's worked a part-time job for 2 years throughout college, and they're buying their first car.
Yeah,
It may not be a $50,000, $60,000 vehicle, but to
probably
them,
not.
it's a vehicle. And taking them seriously, respecting them, walking them through the process that they understand, and they're making an informed decision is so important nowadays.
Yeah, it really is. So, but that's a good bridge here, because obviously the big part of these conversations is your advice to students. Now they're in first year program, we've got about 80 students. A number of them aren't even in Canada yet. They haven't even been able to arrive. So, they're dialing in from South Asia, they're dialing in from Brazil, Mexico, and they're watching this, and they're seeing a graduate from this program, and they're probably wondering, what could I do to start my career? If you could give them advice, Anton, what would you say?
I love this. This is a lot of fun, by the way. I love this. Picks my brain. I would, I would probably say if you have an idea of some way you want to go, or you want to give something a try, but it's nerve wracking. If you got to talk to that one person to get your foot into the door,
Yeah.
do what you got to do to just get your foot in. When you're dealing with people, I have a couple of people that I work with. Um, when you find people that you can just tell that they have this want, this desire, and they're intuitive, being intuitive, marching on and saying, I want to try this, and moving with confidence, just putting it all in and just saying, I'm going to give it a try. Even if I don't like it, well, heck, now I know that I don't like it. But
Yeah.
that being said, just being willing to talk to people. Networking is so important. It's many times at the end of the day, it's not so much what you know. It really is who you know that can really get you ahead. And it's not about getting ahead, but if you figuring stuff out, you may just jump into a dream job that you love because you took a leap of faith.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so important. And I really appreciate how you admire that college experience. And, I'm working hard to give that same experience to this class, even if it's virtual. I'm still on my feet, still cranking it out. This week, we're going to talk about LinkedIn and online branding and personal branding and product branding. I guess it never stops. It's more important now than ever before. Anton,
Absolutely. And
go ahead. Sorry.
no, what I was going to say is kind of piggyback onto that. With the whole online presence, it's not something you can necessarily start and kind of leave and come back here and there, but maintaining a presence, because as you stated, I don't know, earlier in this video too, a reputation takes years to build and seconds to lose, but
Oh, it
maintaining
really
it is what's
does.
so important.
Yeah, I've learned that over the years. How do people find you? So, what's your website? How can people? Because I'm serious. There's students who are like, Professor, I need a car. How do people find you?
davesauto.ca. That's all you got to type in that search box and you'll find us.
That's freaking awesome.
Yep.
It's like 7:30 at night. So, and congratulations, newly married. Woo, woo. So proud of you. And that's awesome. Man, I get all teary. So I'm going to sign off. I want to thank you for doing this, and we're going to drop this out on LinkedIn. I'm sending it to the students tonight, and you're my third interview tonight. This is crazy, but they see value in this, and if they see value in it, then we're going to crank it up. We're going to crank it to 10. So thanks, Anton.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me on.
All right, you're a good man.